Hello there. Okay, so interesting that Marjorie is, started all her crap again, saying the exact same thing about, oh, the Dominion vote, machines are flipping the vote. In other words, she's basically saying that if Georgia is won by Kamala, it actually should be switched, and all of Kamala should be Trump's, and all of Trump's votes should be Kamala's, which is bullshit. And I can personally tell you it's bullshit now. Why? Why can you tell us now, Judy? Well, I've told you before that I've spent a decade being an election poll worker a few decades ago in Arizona. It's been a bit. So today, this morning, I've only been home a couple hours, but I went to my 3.5 hour mandatory poll worker training class. Every year that you work in the polls on elections, even if it's local elections, every year you work, you have to take the class again. Same basic thing, because all states are basically the same. There's just different cutoff times, and some show ID, sometimes some don't. Like Jersey, we will not ask you for your ID. If you want to volunteer it because we can't find your name and we can scan it, that's you. But we're not going to ever ask for it in Jersey, because if you're on the voter rolls, I don't know why we have to sweat you any harder, but apparently red states feel they need to keep sweating. Like in hot states, what was the last election in 20, that you couldn't have water. Nobody could bring you water even when you're standing in line for 3 hours. Bullshit. Or somebody can't stand in line while you go to the bathroom. That's bullshit. And they know it. And everybody knew it. But I can tell you something today. Today, I just saw yesterday her complaining about how you have to put this paper, this slip into a machine, and then you have to pick out, your selections, and then you have to do something, and then this other thing comes out, and you have to give them that slip and the little slip, and on the screen, so they were showing us, did a video, showed us the stuff. You have to, when you go in there with your stuff that you're given, you go and make the selections. It says, before you hit vote these selections, the wording might be a little different in some states, but that was the wording they used. Vote these selections. Or vote these selections I chose, or anything like that. They're supposed to read that. She said, well, when she got the paper out, she looked and it wasn't what she voted. That's a lie. That's a straight out lie, because I saw those machines work just a few hours ago. And you put it in, and when you make your selections, like I said before, it says, before you hit vote my selections, please review that it's correct. You're supposed to go over it, put it through, hit it, get the paper, and check it again. She or he, whoever that was, if it was a real person, did not make the right selection. Now, she said it did it 2 or 3 times or something like that. Number one, she's either lying completely, or the person did make a mistake and they didn't want to say they made a mistake. Because if somebody, like a Trumper, said, oh, I made a mistake and voted for Kamala, you know the hell they would get if anybody heard that? Because the MAGA is vicious. They're not love and caring for each other, and it's just it's not a life and death. I mean, good God, it's not like it's a sword battle, and there is no way unless the person and so the fact that they even made the mistake once when you're supposed to check and review it beforehand, there is no way it can flip it. I saw how they work, and I can't describe it to you without showing you the video myself. But I wonder if you go, why don't you go search how do voting machines work, or something like that, a Dominion, and I'll bet you they'll tell you. They'll bring you somewhere to show just what I saw this morning on how they work. If you saw how they work, you would understand that she's full of shit. Or the person who told her or told somebody is full of shit. But somebody is full of shit about this story. Plus the fact that it smells a lot coming from her diaper, Marjorie's diaper, because 4 years ago it was the same thing. Oh, they're cheating. They're changing the vote. They're flipping it. It was the same screen she was making. She totally takes Trump's playbook because she just uses the same things that he does. He uses the same excuses. And even when he's told that's not right, Mike Johnson did it. Oh, to Jake Tapper. Jake says, it sounds like he's saying this. And he's like, oh, no. He's not saying that. And Jake Tapper says, Mike, he said it right there. We both sat here and watched him. That is what he said. And Mike Johnson goes, no, that's not what he said. What he was trying to mean was, I'm pretty sure the candidate, the president, should be able to communicate what he meant himself and not have all his little mouthpieces tell us what he meant, because he makes no sense when he talks. He contradicts himself, or he goes off and trails off and never says, a resolution to the question. And they're all doing it. So I can tell you for sure, just like Mike Johnson sat there on live TV telling him, no, Jack, Jake, no, you did not hear what you heard. What you heard was what he meant to say. And what he meant to say, what he meant was this. Well, if you're going for any office of any type, I'm pretty sure accurate and clear communication is necessary. So, yeah. But I can absolutely tell you now, from personal experience, seeing those machines run. I've read how they worked, and I've seen how they work, which is why I knew back then that there was no way that what she said was happening. But now I've seen one personally work. I mean, we messed with the e-poll books. We messed with the stuff. We experimented. We tossed it around. Because even though there was some of them who was the first time working polls in Jersey, there was others that had worked in Jersey before, but they just weren't used to this method, this machine. So yeah, we saw the sucker work in person, and there's no way unless the user made an error and just didn't want to man or woman up to it, just didn't want to admit that they're just stupid, or maybe they left their reading glasses at home. If they really did make a mistake, and if it really did happen 2 times, to the same person, then if it really did have to get 2, spoiled ballots, then that person's lying, and they didn't have their reading glasses with them or something. They kept hitting the wrong thing. That's the only way. I'll bet you if that really happened, the person who the poll worker they went to, they probably had to say, who's does it say that I voted for? Bet you that the person said, who's that say I voted for? And it says, if it says Harris, they go, oh, no, 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 I didn't vote for Harris. Because there's no way for it to happen. So I could see them asking somebody and just making the mistake because they can't read it because they don't have their damn glasses on. I get that can so totally happen. And there are people, especially if they're MAGA people, they will not admit anything that's a mistake, an error, a flaw, because apparently they believe that humans are supposed to be perfect. Because why else? Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is human. I mean, even the people that subscribe to the Bible's teachings, even they say it. So what gives, But yes, I am telling you personally, I sat there for 3.5 hours and we saw that machine, and I used the ebooks, and we ran through every voter problem. A regular voter with no problem, a voter that voted their, that got a mail in but didn't vote it, people that spoil their ballots, people that aren't in the thing, people that are in the wrong place. I mean, there was all kinds of things, and we went through every damn possibility and the cure. And how it works and because we have to set those machines up in the morning. They're all packed up. They have to show us where all the parts are, what all the parts do, how the parts hook together. That's all the people that you see. Oh, they're just sitting there writing. That's us. We have to do all that before we even open. Plus, we have to measure out the lines for electioneering and such. You have to have 75 feet, 100 feet. In Jersey, you can't electioneer within 100 feet. Some states, it used to be at least 75. And I'm telling you, when you go to vote, make sure you have nothing of either party on. And I'm talking shoelaces, I'm talking earrings, I'm talking on your hat, I'm talking on your shirt. Even if you're wearing an elephant shirt and the elephant's in a jungle, or the donkey is, on the farm, it's just a picture of horses and donkeys. Even if it's a realistic picture and it's not, the party, representation of it, you can't bring it, it can't come within 100 feet of the entrance to the polling place. Not 100 feet to the machine, 100 feet to the entrance of the polling place. So keep that in mind. Also, polls on election day will be open till 8. If you're online by or before 8 o'clock, even if it's past 8 o'clock, by the time you get to the front of the line, you can still be voted. Just reminding you all that. Or for the first time voters, the ones that voted last time, but it was in the middle of the day, so they didn't have to worry about the time, anything like that. Is usually what they do in Jersey, we only have 4 people per polling place. I don't know if that's because we just don't have enough people wanting to help out and work, or if it's just because they're smaller than like what I used to do in Tucson, and they don't have as many people come in, so one person could do more than just the one job. I know in Tucson, there were literally time periods for a couple hours where people were actually in line for like 2 hours waiting to vote. But Tucson's big, and even though Tucson had quite a few polling places of its own in the different areas of the city, they're open till 8. Even if it's 2 minutes till 8 and you get there, if you get to the line by 8 o'clock, usually, like I was going to say, I'm used to working in polling places where we have 6 people working. They say we're only going to have 4. So that'll be interesting. But usually with the 6, you would have the person who was considered the marshal. That was the title of he or she at 8 o'clock would stand in line behind the last person and remain there until that last person gets up front and we can close the door until they vote and then let them out. because that keeps anybody that comes in after 8 o'clock. Even if there's a big old line there, if they get in the parking lot, they say, oh man, it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes after 8, but there's people still in line, they're still letting them vote. And they park and they come up to the line. No, if it's after 8, you might see people in line, but that's because they got there before 8 o'clock. And that's the only reason they're allowed to vote. So don't get caught in that. If you're putting it off and you get tied up with stuff, just remember, you got to be on the line by 8 p.m. or you won't be allowed to get in front of that last person, or you won't be able to vote. You got from 6 in the morning till 8 at night on election day. Get your butt out there. Do not believe Dominion machines are flipping votes. I have personally seen them this morning. I have seen them working. I have seen the videos on how they're set up, on how they process things, where, what, why. It's not possible to do what she's claiming without the user making a selection mistake. Maybe, like I said, because they don't have their reading glasses on or something. But that's really the only way for it to happen. They make a mistake, and it's printed out, but they caught it. But before they even hit vote, they're supposed to check it first, and then check it again after that prints, before they give it, to put it in, to enter it. So, they probably didn't check it beforehand, and they checked it afterwards, because the worker that's standing there says check the thing, make sure it's correct. That's what you're supposed to do. One person's supposed to be by the machine saying, every time somebody comes out, make sure the selection is correct before you hand it to me. And they didn't. They did not check before they voted. They only checked after. Because I asked. And there was a person there that knows those machines too. Since it's the first time, first time a lot of places here are using that particular one. But it's exactly the way Marjorie Taylor Greene described. And I asked the guy, it was a guy, I asked him, I told her what she said. I said, that's not possible with these, now that I'm seeing the actual model. And he goes, no, it's not. Which is why they won the lawsuit against Newsmax and Fox. I mean, we're talking millions and billions. So, hopefully, she gets billioned lawsuited. Because she said this a couple times now. I've seen 2 different interviews where she's actually saying that. 2 different outfits, 2 different backgrounds. So it's not just a one-time thing. She's just saying it now. Everybody there is getting very desperate. Because last time, in 16, he was already so much ahead. By this time that they're starting to panic. Because it's kind of looking the way it was with Biden. But it's with Kamala, who has more behind her, I think. More initiative, more drive with others driving behind her. So, yeah. But just want to tell you firsthand, there is no way in technology that I could see, and everybody in the class, we're talking, it was an entirely full classroom. I mean, we're talking probably about 60 people, at least. And everybody said, how would it do that? It wouldn't. It can't flip one vote and not the others, because the others weren't flipped. That's what they were saying. Only the president. All the other positions weren't. But then on another interview, she said they all were flipped. So it's obviously like her little cult daddy, her little tyrannical tangerine toddler cult daddy, just lying and exaggerating it and embellishing it, and just, and since she's not had a lawsuit slapped on her yet, just like Donald, he keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. Just with his court things, he kept talking until he got slapped down by the judge and threatened to be immediately imprisoned if he didn't shut the fuck up, kind of thing. She's doing the same thing because they don't get any jail time. They don't get any kind of, um, you know, the one who makes the least is Congress and or House, and they make $174,000 a year. Please, please, that might not be a lot for some of you, but for most of us, it's a lot. Peace out. Vote. And don't believe their lies.